welcome to Go Live. Hi. Asa.
Good evening.
Actually, I was muted. Sorry, I was on mute. So hello.
No, I didn't expect anyone to say hi. I just wanted to start off with an awkward hi, just to
with
see
an awkward
Asa's
silence
face.
and hi. Yeah.
I just love looking at Asa's facial expressions. You can see a lot. You'd be a bad poker player, Asa. You'd be terrible at poker.
Hold on.
I don't reckon you ever correctly guessed my thoughts. Like once, so I reckon I'd be brilliant. At least with you.
Shouldn't you introduce your guest or something like that? I don't know. That's not the way to start a podcast.
Maybe. I've forgotten my my manners. Apologies. But before I do that, I have to introduce my so-called unreadable expert poker player of a friend. Asa, how are you?
I'm seething with burning hot rage right now. I'm so angry and all the rest of it. And you can tell this is my... Exactly. You don't know anything, Gaz. It's impossible to read me. I'm brilliant at poker and Apex Legends and every kind of game. Some of that was a lie. I'm good though. I'm looking forward to this.
I played poker with you. And Apex Legends. But yeah, good. Okay, we'll settle this one day in PokerStars VR. There's content for your channel right there. Watch me beat him live, everyone. Now, this is not about us or Asa. It is always about you, lovely people in the chat, and of course, our guests. We have the returning Polish sensation. He disappeared. People thought, what happened to him? Where is Mads PL? He's joined the dark side. I see you on Twitter seething. I was like, wait, hold on, Mads. Mads getting angry, coming to the dark side. I was like, this is it. You know, I function on controversy. So here you go, Mads. No, it's good to have you. It's been so long. Welcome back, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Thanks for the invite. And of course, like, what's the best? There's no better way to come back if with some controversy. So I basically decided to piss off some people on Twitter. So I didn't know how that goes.
It's fun. Well, join the club. It's good to have you back, and we're going to get into the topics. But last, but certainly not least, it's the German sensation making his debut in the Go Live circuit. Bottenberger, welcome, sir. How are you doing, man?
Thank you so much for having me, man. It's been a long time coming, and I'm excited to finally be here. Even though my voice is a little, rough around the edges, but I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for the invite. We're gonna have an awesome show here today.
Well, your voice sounds sexy. There's enough bass in there for 3 gases because. Yeah. But yeah, welcome. It's been a long time coming, so it's good to have you on here. And we're gonna get pretty saucy. As always, if you're listening to us on Spotify and all the streaming podcasts, thank you for joining us. And if you're on Spotify, courtesy of Asa, as of 2 shows ago, you're probably watching us with a video feed. I don't even know how Asa does it, but he's done it. Well done, Asa, the tech wizard. So thank you everyone for joining in there. We have a wild assortment of topics this week because things are all over the place. I earlier alluded to Mads being angry and just lashing out and mocking something. Oh, my stream just died. No, I'm fine. But gents, well, Mads, please explain to our loyal viewers, why were you mad? You looked at the Witcher 3 performance and you were pissed off. Let me read your tweet. This sarcastic tweet, because you were Xbox, you've been on the show, you've been a big fan of Xbox and its performance, you've made videos on its performance, and yet you said Xbox Series X, the most powerful console ever, can't even maintain 60 frames per second in the last gen game, talking about The Witcher 3. I thought this patch was intended to improve the game, not break it. And as always, the horde descended upon thee. What is going on, Mads? Are you pissed off with Xbox? Have you lost faith in Xbox and the GDK or XDK and the RDNA2 and all the shit you talk about. Not shit, but well, you know what I mean. I'm tired of it all.
Well, call me Sony Pony now, apparently. So let's start there, because apparently I got a lot of Xbox guys angry because of that tweet. But actually, let's split that into let's talk about Witcher update and also the GDK and that kind of stuff later. Now, the reason I basically made that tweet, I wrote that tweet was because, it's cool that we got this update. And I was actually really looking forward to it, right? Like a performance mode and ray tracing. I was actually quite curious of it and stuff, right? But I played with Witcher for a little bit and that kind of stuff. And the biggest, it's not even that it's broken game overall, because you get better graphics, you get ray tracing, which ray tracing mode is actually terrible, to be honest with you. It's even worse than performance modes, to be honest with you. But what made me kind of a little bit angry is that it's yet again another example of a game that where developers with some updates or even releasing the game day one sometimes with some other games, they sacrifice performance over better graphics and all the bells and whistles and that kind of stuff, right? Because a lot of people actually tweeted at me saying that, oh, but hey, it's 60 most of the time, that kind of stuff. But I wasn't even angry at that particular update per se and stuff, right? Because I know it's not easy and that kind of stuff. I understand that developing games, whatever, right? Especially these days, it's not easy and that kind of stuff. But my point is that they released an update that actually broke the game. So with that update, from my perspective, we are getting worse game, right? Yes, the graphic is better, but the performance is worse because before that update, Xbox Series X would run this game at pretty much locked 60 frames per second, no matter where, right? No matter whether you would go to Novigrad or some other places, right? And that was all in backwards compatibility. So I was expecting, with that update that it would, at least keep the performance with some better graphics and that kind of stuff. But and don't get me wrong, Witcher looks better and stuff, but for me,
you specifically shared the frame graph of Xbox Series X versus the PS5, which was PS5 was running at 57 frames, whereas the Series X was running at 52, just showing. So you're trying to make a point saying, well, look at this. Why is the PS5 outperforming the Series X? Are you not?
Well, yes and no, because my main point was the fact that that game is actually, because I was actually looking at the graph I had that particular screenshot available when I was actually making that tweet. But generally speaking, my main point was to basically just to say, hey, before update it was locked 60 frames per second. Now it's dropping frames to 52, right? Basically, right? Mm-hmm. So, I know that people, were like, oh, it's on CD Projekt Red. It has nothing to do with Xbox, right? Maybe that's the case. But at the same time, right, if we want to go into the whole SDK territory, right? Not sure if you want to talk about it now or later.
Briefly, let's talk about that. I just quickly want to get Asa's view on this SDK thing as well, but do you have anything to add before I go to Asa?
No, okay. So we'll talk about SDK and all these tools later. But my main point, and I guess what made me really, kind of not necessarily angry per se, but
frustrated.
Is that it's yet another game that is this particular update did break performance mode really on Xbox Series X, right? So made it worse really. And B, that's yet another game that is actually running worse on Xbox Series X than PlayStation 5. And it's not even the fact that it's running worse, right? It's just the fact that it's not running as it should be, right? Because we had Callisto Protocol, we had some wars
around, we had
exactly, and
games, yeah.
And a lot of times it's basically a case of developers focusing on graphics over performance, right? Over 60 frames per second. And I get it.
On Xbox,
right?
Yeah.
Because see, if you look at games, PlayStation 5 versions of these games, they usually run at lower resolutions, right?
Yeah.
But performance is much better.
Yeah.
Now, we'll probably talk about why that's probably happening later on, but hey, it is what it is, right? Like, from gamers' perspective, you don't necessarily care whether they use these particular tools or not, right? The game should just work and it should work well, right? That's what I'm expecting.
Well, that's the expectation. That's what people would have. But before I jump into you, Boxerbug, I just want to quickly get Asa's view to set the scene up for you. Asa, we've seen this so many times, and the power stuff, you were never a believer in the whole RDNA 2 thing or overstating the importance of it. But you did say on raw paper, on just the specs, a machine alone should be thoroughly outperforming or just be better. But it's not the case. And what's going on?
That's a really difficult one to answer. I've never been taken in by the letters in the way that a lot of people were. So you see a lot of people talking about one's full RDNA2 and the other one isn't. One's got like VRS and FSR2 and all the rest of it. And all of these things have been touted around with more weight than they deserved. They were just letters to me. But on paper, the hardware between the two consoles is very, very similar. Xbox have been very upfront about what's in their console, and Sony have always been a little bit more secretive with it. So all of their developers have much more heavy NDAs that say you can't actually talk about the nitty gritty. You can't talk about the hardware that's doing the ray tracing on the PlayStation or anything like that. So there's less transparency, but under the surface, they're very, very similar, and the Xbox has a bigger chip. So people in previous generations possibly overstated the teraflops number. My take going into this generation was that actually, yes, you can overstate what it means, but you can also understate it. That difference is real and does have meaning in the context of these consoles, and I expect performance to pretty much align with it between them. What we're seeing on paper, or what we're seeing in real life even, is that sometimes that is the case. There have been, like Mad said, a bunch of games this generation, particularly over the last year, that have had like 15-20% higher resolution on the Series X, and that has become something that we can expect to see, and something that I think we can expect to see a lot going forwards, because the flagship like technical demonstration game that's available to us has to be Fortnite. Unreal Engine 5 is going to become very dominant in the scene, and Fortnite is another example. They run very, very similar between the two consoles. Resolution is a little bit higher on the Xbox Series X. Expect that to carry on going forwards. Why we're getting these anomalies, why we're getting these witches, these Need for Speeds and things like that, I can't even answer. I don't know. Chat, you can speculate. Boxenberger, what's your take on all of this?
I mean, there's a lot of room for speculation now. I think if we look at it, like you said, Asa, on paper, the Xbox should definitely outperform on most games. Obviously, higher numbers doesn't always mean performing better, but in the vast majority, it should be the case. I think the problem with the entire architecture of Xbox and versus Sony is that a lot of the things that Sony did with their next gen console or current gen console now is simply increasing the raw performance, while Xbox has put a lot of bets on more features, more advanced hardware architecture. Let me give you an example. We know that the Xbox chip has a lot of compute units, 52 compute units in the Xbox Series X. And Sony did the same thing, just with a higher clock speed. So that clock speed is automatically available for developers. don't have to do anything. That's simply out of the box there. If you want to make use of 52 compute units, you have to parallelize a lot of processes in your pipeline. And I think a lot of games that were designed on older engines show that performance difference now, because developers can use that performance right out of the box on the PlayStation, while they have to optimize their engines for the specific architecture on the Xbox side of things. And that's just my assumption here, of course. But if you look at the games that you just listed, Gaz, they are all running on relatively dated engines. Yeah, Call of Duty engine is not, or it's just an iteration every year. It's not a groundbreaking new engine. You look at games like The Witcher now. Yeah, old game, old engine. The Red engine is now, what I want to say, at least 10, 12 years old. So these kind of engines automatically get the benefit of the higher clock speeds, while they would have to optimize for the parallel processes in the Xbox Series X. Just my speculation out there, but I think it always comes down to this, like, the tools are not ready discussion. I don't think that's the case. I honestly think the architecture, or to make use of the architecture or what is in the Xbox, is just a little bit more complicated. And especially on third-party games, developers always optimize for the lowest common denominator, and that's still PC. And PC has a relatively scalable architecture where the engines are being built to not parallelize a lot of things, because you don't know how many cores every PC has in there. They are taking more advantage of clock speeds and raw bandwidth and stuff like that. And that's simply more or easier available in the PlayStation. So yeah, at the end, it's a lot of speculation. I'm not sure what's going on, but I get the frustration, Matt. I know what you mean. I don't think, for instance, The Witcher, it's a big deal. I've been playing it already for like at least 15 hours. I put already in the next gen patch, and it runs beautifully. And look, but granted, I use VRR, so frame rate dips aren't that noticeable to me. But I know what you mean.
Did you try ray tracing mode?
I tried ray tracing mode for 30 seconds, and then I had to turn it off.
So why did you turn it off?
I mean, the 30 FPS, and it's not even stable 30 FPS in the ray tracing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you joke, like when I enabled ray tracing, it was a slideshow. I'm not even a fan of 30 frames per second games. I mean, don't get me wrong. I play some games in 30 if I have to. Yeah. But I'm not even a big fan of 30 frames per second. But that was not even 30. That was like 20 frames per second. I mean, I didn't run any, frame counter or anything like that on that. But that was terrible. And it wasn't only one place. It was like all across different places and stuff. So yeah,
I think at the end it comes down to a lot of Xbox gamers are waiting for so many things. Yeah, we're waiting for games, we're waiting for tools, we're waiting for the true next gen graphics showcase and the true next gen performance and all that stuff. And so I think that's where a lot of the frustration comes from, when then yet another game outperforms the Xbox on PlayStation. But
I mean, it's just ultimately tools or whatever. I'm not a technical guy. I just hear the tools thing. I just kind of laugh. Like, it's 2 years. It's been 2 years since the console launch. So, it shouldn't even the golf.
Really quickly on the tools thing, though, I think it is worth remembering that around when exactly did we have our interview with David Springate? Do you remember?
About
near to the launch of the consoles, and David Springate at that point in time was he was leading a tech team at Codemasters Cheshire, who had made Dirt 5. So they'd made Dirt 5 and just released it across all of the next gen consoles, all of the previous gen consoles. He's at Playground now, heading up a team at Microsoft. It's through our conversation with David Springate that I say that he was very much tight-lipped on what he could and couldn't say about Sony at the time, because their NDAs and transparency was a lot stricter, but he was very, very clear in what he said, that that ran quite counter to the narrative about Xbox tools. We asked him this directly as someone who was hands-on working with it, and he's not the kind of developer that works in an engine that someone else has made and does art and things like that. Yeah. He's very much a tech guy who goes home and programs the engine himself when he wants to. And he said that all the tools were there. All of these letters and acronyms and initialisms that we see around were all there and ready to go if you wanted to use them. So the tools being ready or not ready, I'm not saying, I mean, this is just one person saying it, but I very much trust his opinion over mine. And he was saying it's all ready and good to go. At the same time, it's undeniable that the Xbox is, for the last 2 years, not performing where you perhaps expect it to based on the specs on paper. It's also fair to say that there's a lot of issues on PC as well at the moment. Like most PC releases are coming out with stuttering issues, and for me, I think it raises
Witcher, by the way,
including The Witcher. I think it raises some pretty serious questions around how good DirectX 12 is or isn't. That's the common denominator for me across the board, PC and Xbox. It's PlayStation's core, like API, their language could just be better at the moment.
Okay. Well,
let me add something to it, because like when we on while we on the whole tools topic, like a perfect example of one particular tool that could potentially change things around, right, is the whole decompression block, right? And a lot of people say, oh, there's stuttering or CPU issues on Xbox Series X because PlayStation 5 has got that texture decompression block, right? Basically, when you've got the textures, you transfer textures from SSD to the memory. These textures are compressed in a compressed state on the SSD, and you have to decompress them before you put them into the GPU memory, right? And right now on like old way and on PC, like old consoles and PC, CPU has to do it, right? That's why PlayStation has got this decompression block, which takes this work from CPU and it's being done via this decompression block. CPU can do other stuff basically at the same, in the meantime. And Xbox has got the same. Xbox Series S and X has got that decompression block as well. Now, the big difference between Xbox and PlayStation is, and it's been officially confirmed by both Xbox and PlayStation, because even Mark Cerny, in one of his videos, he did actually spoke about it quite a lot, and he did say that the decompression block on PlayStation 5 has been designed in a way that developers don't have to even think about it. It's hard coded basically, right? So it's all in a hardware, right? It's so the whole decompression process is automatic, right? Now, while on Xbox, developer has to optimize for it, has to code for it, has to use the proper APIs like, direct storage and all these kind of APIs. So that, I guess, that takes us back to the whole DirectX 12 and whether it's really being used properly or not, right? And I remember there's this guy at Xbox, James Stennart, or I probably mispronounced his name. He actually works with the texture technology and that kind of stuff. And he actually said that, like, basically a lot of developers, like, all the tools are there. Developers can use that decompression block, no problem. But they don't do it because right now we are still in this bloody cross-gen development period. And they just, like,
there's no incentive to use that. It takes too much time.
I mean, exactly. And they are already on a tight time budget, right?
Yep.
And they cannot basically, spend more time, using that new technology, because obviously they would have to delay the game anyway, right? So,
if we move away from cross-gen, are you saying we will see more use of this compression?
It would make sense, right? But my point, the whole point I'm trying to say is that this particular technology that is available on both Xbox and PlayStation, on PlayStation doesn't require any developer input, while on Xbox, developers have to make some effort to use it, if you know what I mean.
Based Mark Cerny, the GOAT. He thought of it, made it easier for developers. And in fact, we've seen it. Even a moron like me can say, make it easier for developers and you'll get better results. We saw it with the 360. We then saw it with the PS4. Now we're seeing it with the PS5. And in all this, well, ultimately, you keep Microsoft. Jason, if you're watching this, Ronald, you can't scream most powerful console when you're routinely just scraping away at the wins. And I personally, you may say, well, actually, Digital Foundry confirmed that 70% of games run better on Xbox. Well, the resolution is better, but every guest that we talk about, almost unanimously in the community, they always say frames over resolution. So
just quickly though, because we all sound really, really negative on the whole Xbox scenario there. Go back a couple of years to the Xbox One and the Xbox One X. Things are so damn good now for everyone on all of the consoles. 60 frames per second is broadly available all over the place, and we're getting our knickers in a twist because you might drop a few frames in town in a game or whatever. But no, it's fantastic playing games at the moment. So a little bit of positivity just as a reminder. Shut your face, Gaz. I see your nonsense poker having a shit fit.
Listen,
I can get behind that, Asa. I can totally get behind that.
Hey, listen, I'm Polish. I have to moan. I mean, it's just our Polish thing, right? Like we always unhappy.
We love to moan.
So there you go.
We love to have a whinge. And on that note, Face 23, Brooklyn, New York, thank you again for the $20 super chat. He goes, Mads, even though the Series X is strong on paper, doesn't mean every game will perform or run better than the PlayStation 5. Well, yeah, Mads has confirmed why he thinks that's the case, and whether or not that will go on in the future, I don't know. And that's the thing. When we do finally see the cross-gen come to an end and see more of Unreal Engine 5 multi-plats that are current gen only, that's where it's going to get real tasty. And if you're still crying about the tools after 2 years, I think you need to get laid.
Yeah, I mean, one point on that. I understand that. And even last generation, PlayStation 4 Pro, Xbox One X, there was even a bigger of a kind of like a specs gap, I would say, right? Much bigger. And even back then, there were some games on PlayStation 4 Pro that would run better than on Xbox One X, basically, right? And I get it, because it's all about how developers use these bloody tools and the power and that kind of stuff, right? There was actually quite a lot of cases where games would be would run at lower frame rate on Xbox because it was again higher resolution, that kind of stuff. So I get it. It's just my frustration was coming more from the fact that on Xbox Series X we had that flawless 60 frames per second in Witcher 3, and now with that update it's not that flawless, especially in ray tracing mode. Give it a try. 20 frames per second. Maybe it's a special, somebody. I mean, I've seen some jokes basically saying that we should actually, they should actually enable sort of like a 15 frames per second mode in Witcher 3, right, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because, no, really, Witcher 3 in ray tracing mode is terrible, frame rate wise, right? It's really bad.
Well, how much of it is so? Mike, thank you for the $10 super chat. He goes, why are we giving the developers a pass when this is clearly an optimization issue, prioritizing one platform over another? I don't know if that's the case, but he says every game that the Series X runs poorly also runs poorly on PC. I don't think that's the case of every game. He says, coincidence? No. Well, on that note, Mike, we've had the Metro say that The Witcher 3 is another Cyberpunk 2077 style disaster because CD Projekt Red cannot afford to have missteps like this. In this case, Mike, I do agree with you because the PC version runs rubbish, and the PS5 version, by the way, it runs pretty terribly as well. It's just that the PS5 ran at better frames than Mads shared that along, but the PS5 version also, whilst it has 10 times faster loading, it's terrible apparently on ray tracing. It's often juddery, 30 frames, if that. So you're right, Mike. There's a developer issue there, but I think someone in chat also mentioned that whilst we're not giving them free reign, ultimately, if you make it easy to develop on a console, generally, then of course developers will favor that console. It's just the path of least resistance. We've talked about power quite a lot there. I see what you're saying, Mike. You're saying Digital Foundry only covered that CD Projekt Red did prioritize the versions on the Cyberpunk. I don't know how they came to that conclusion, if that's the case. Fine. Cole Eastwood in chat says the developers said the Xbox XDK GPU is stalled out and they don't want to keep that tuning it for Xbox consoles because it shouldn't be that difficult. That's terrible. That's terrible on Xbox's part. If that's the case, Cole, what you're saying, it's horrible. How did Xbox land in itself in that situation? If anyone, Xbox should know the value in making it easier. That
was actually part of my point earlier. The thing is, with a lot of things, the stuff just works right out of the gate for the developers on PlayStation. While on Xbox they have to optimize for certain things.
And that's what the Remedy developer said when he had the interview with IGN. He said the same thing. And he said, piss off Series S, another bloody S console to worry about. But he said the same thing. It works right out of the box for the PlayStation, whereas Xbox, they designed a new whatever tools, and now they have to work around it. What you were saying, combination of what you and Mads were saying. So ultimately, I just say it's Xbox's fault. Fix it. It's your problem. You're the one advertising as the world's most powerful console. Yeah, you have the resolution advantage, but a lot of us like the frame rate. We've heard it here many times. But let's see. We still haven't entered current gen or next gen properly because don't have any next gen games. Why? So shit. I hate it. I was so excited. I had a fat erection coming into this generation. More power, CPU is beast. No more of these ancient shitty hard drives. All these promises. Even Mark Cerny said the game development will change once you use the power of the SSD. You lying. Nothing changed. 2 years. Huggy Chatty with a $10 super chat goes, just to confirm what Mike said, the new developer kit for X is for console and Windows DX12. So there is a good chance that implementing the new SDK is causing issues. Well, Huggy, I hope they can find a solution to that. I hope they can. I just want it to be working. Now, slightly different tangent. I just want to quickly talk about this. Apparently, Death Stranding 2 has a movie announced. It's apparently like Amazon Prime, the flipping documentary. I haven't played it. I'm going to play it, by the way. I've shat on Death Stranding so much, but apparently a movie's in the works. And I want to talk to you about what
actually, movie may actually work, to be honest with you.
I mean, the game was already a movie, right?
Really?
With 2 minutes here. The intro alone is, 15, 20 minutes long.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that,
something like that. That's my problem with Kojima games. I'm not a big Kojima fan. When I want to play a game, I want to play a game. I don't want to watch 20-minute cutscene, play 3 minutes of gameplay, and then watch another 20-minute cutscene. So I'm absolutely no fan. I tried to play Death Stranding. Honestly, I fell asleep 3 times in the first hour, and it's just not for me. So
I'm gonna try it, okay? With the help of some legal drugs, I will try to bear with it, because apparently there's this moment of epiphany when you realize this game is a work of art. Magnifique. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. But so obviously they're gonna say this. Hideo Kojima is working with Alex.
Buy yourself a couple of cans of Monster.
What are you saying? So sorry. Go ahead.
Buy yourself a couple of cans of Monster. So.
Really? Yeah, because that's what I need, Mads. More like taurine in my blood sugar levels. That's it. If I die, chat.
I mean,
Remember, it's mad. So it doesn't give a shit about my health.
This game is full of that drink. Basically, that's why.
Oh, actually, you're right. They sponsored the shit out of that game. Talk about ad placement. No one gave a damn. Actually, you know what? Other than the fact that it's really kind of cheesy in the way they advertise it, I never had an issue with naturally like blended in ads. People are, oh, look at that billboard, it's got a Nike logo in. I'm like, who cares? Like, that's what you'd expect on a advertising board, but rather you'd have a fake one in there, unless of course there's a deeper conversation. But with this game, they say apparently they're working with Barbarian executive producer Alex Libovici, who says, unlike other big budget tentpole video game adaptations, because movie games tend to suck, this will be something more intimate and grounded. What? Our goal is to redefine what a video game adaptation is. Bullshit. And have creative and artistic freedom. Well, in a game like this, as creative as they can. It's just, you need to be on DMT to understand this game. This film will be an authentic Hideo Kojima production, which means that it's going to be batshit crazy. Who is interested in this? Chat, let me know. Asa, you love it, right?
No.
There it is.
No, I didn't get along with Death Stranding in the game. At least in the film, they can't expect you to just walk over long distances over and over again. So maybe it'll be brilliant. People call him a visionary. I don't dislike Kojima. I'm still excited for his next projects always. Am I excited for Death Stranding 2? No, that'd be weird because I cannot bring myself to play through the first one. If the movie gives me a little recap and takes me up to the start of Death Stranding 2, maybe I'll play Death Stranding 2 at that point. Is Xbox projects in the cloud? Sure, I'll see what it is. I'm interested.
Yeah, Death Stranding 2 and Hideo Kojima, they have a weird vibe. I think MGS5 was overrated, but people will argue to death against me. I've got a lot of friends who actually completely split on this. So there is something fully with there.
You there? It's not just Death Stranding. Yeah, it's not just Death Stranding. Also, Metal Gear, way overrated.
Well, Metal Gear Solid 5, Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 and 3 were pretty dank in my opinion. I didn't play 3, but not in my opinion. Metal Gear Solid 1 is in my top 5 of all time. Just, it was something special.
Really?
I think, yeah, man, MGS1 was amazing. What are you talking about? It was crazy. Like, even when they had blocky faces, I still cared. They were one of the closest...
games are shit. Move on.
Oh. Speaking of shit games, Spider-Man 2 is coming. Don't come at me, ponies. Spider-Man 2 is coming 2023. Insomniac have confirmed that it's happening. Now, first of all, every time a release date or any indication of a release date is given, I tend to take it with a pinch of salt. Now, you'd be forgiven for being a bit skeptical on this. But Mads, do you think this will actually release next year?
Well, it's Insomniac, so they seem to be very productive, if you know what I mean. Like, if you look at a lot of like games from PlayStation, like there was quite a lot of games from Insomniac, like 2 Spider-Man games. I mean, I guess one was just a remaster, I guess, so just like updated version of the PlayStation 4 game, but still, Ratchet and Clank. Did they release anything else? I mean,
Miles Morales.
Miles Morales.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I mean, they seem to have some good processes there. They seem to be like they must have had been even COVID kind of proved, I guess, somehow. I don't know.
Yes,
because,
Hoggy. This was announced last year. It's coming out next year.
Last year.
I don't know.
Last year. It was last year. 21, yeah.
So what's how interesting, are they releasing it so quick?
What's interesting is that I've seen some comments on Twitter. Obviously, I have no idea whether that's actually true or not, because, Spider-Man probably is going to take place in, I guess, the same city and stuff. So maybe they will be able to reuse some of the assets. Ooh. Now,
Copy and paste, he said, chat. He said, copy and paste, lazy developers. Oh,
I mean, I'm sure they will improve. But if you've got like, I don't know, the city map already there and the main buildings, so you just basically put more stuff on top of that just to make it next gen and stuff, right? Maybe you will use even more ray tracing, better lighting, and more, FX and that kind of stuff, and you've got a next gen game basically, right? So maybe that's going to be the case. Although I did see some tweet from one of the developers that obviously I know that developers have tendency to kind of hype things, obviously, especially stuff that they actually work on. But like he was like, "Oh, you don't even know, you don't." What did he say? He was like,
"Oh, you're not even ready for what we're about to."
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So
they're gonna do that. They're gonna build the hype. They might believe it, but
yeah, I mean, I when it comes to release dates and stuff, I think that if anything, like actually Insomniac probably will deliver, right? So did they say exactly when that's coming out, or just like?
Well, they said 2023 generally. August. And Hoggy says, "Guess you need a refresher, guys. Spider-Man came out in 2018. If it comes out in 2023, how many years is that? Oh, right, 5, because he suddenly forgot Miles Morales and Ratchet and Clank from the same studio. But then the metric will change. Now watch Hoggy change the goalpost in about T-minus 5 minutes." But before I bait Hoggy into a response, Boxenberger, are you hopeful? Do you have confidence in Insomniac? And what are you expecting from the game? A conservative one?
I do have faith in Insomniac. I'm always careful these days with the messaging of Sony. They told us a lot of stories over the last couple of years that turned out not to be true. So God of War was supposed to come out in the launch window, if you remember. Yeah. And we got it 2 years after the console launch. So I do have faith in Insomniac, though. I think what Matt says is right. They are a very oiled machine, well-oiled machine. They know how to bring out games, release games. They have a working schedule there. So I do have faith in them. But again, these days, you can't trust anything that Sony tells you. That's the thing.
Anyone really with the release dates, but yeah.
Yeah, and with the release dates.
How big are they?
Insomniac.
That's a good question. That's a good question.
No
I'm
idea.
sure they'll have expanded, and they were bought for a cheap price. And what a good
200 something million or so. Yeah,
250 million or something stupid, which is still compared to some of the other buys that they've got, and they're carrying PlayStation. Almost. Well, Studio Santa Monica delivered some beast.
They had the shiny launch title. Yeah, they had the shiny launch title. They had Ratchet and Clank, the only next gen game. And they have the game that everyone is excited about in whenever it will come out, and that's Wolverine. Yeah, there's a lot of buzz around that. They are carrying Sony this gen so far. So I'm still confident in what they will do. Whether it will come out next year or in 2024 doesn't matter. But I think the game will be fantastic. That the first two, well, if you count Miles Morales as the second one, were awesome. I really enjoyed them, but I don't think it will be a revolutionary game or something. Just expect what you had in the first two, in Spider-Man and Miles Morales. A little bit reiterated. The engine is probably a little bit more polished. It'll be still a cross-gen release. So
cross-gen release, really?
You think so?
No, they said so.
Do you want to?
They did say so.
They did say so.
Oh, so
even in that case, 5.
In that case, that makes more sense because So also in that case, these comments about reusing the assets and stuff actually makes even more sense, because I thought that we're talking about like a proper PlayStation 5 game, but it's not. Makes even more sense.
The wording was even a little vague that they even left the window open where the Wolverine will be actually. Cross-gen.
But they in the tweet only mentioned PS5. They did not mention. If that is cross-gen, ladies and gentlemen, I swear, if any PlayStation ponies even dare downplay that, they will get the wrath of the source, because that should be next gen only. I don't care anymore. You've sold all these consoles, make it next gen. Otherwise, it's in scope. It's quite bad. Before I get to you, Ace, on this, I just want Dan Lazaro with the $2 super because Gaz wins the award for the whiniest Karen in gaming. I'm gonna whine in auto-tune for you. And Huggy's coming at me now where he goes, sigh, Gaz. Let me sigh in reverb. Sigh, Gaz. Oh, actually, let me actually sigh. The two teams at Insomniac, guess you forgot that. Oh, I wish Microsoft could segment their team so maybe you would have less excuses for damage controlling their shit output. The small team who works on Miles wasn't the full team. Okay, so two big teams were working on Ratchet and Clank and Spider-Man? Wait, explain this to me, sir. How did that happen? They seem to be working pretty fast, huh? Unless you're saying that's a tiny team working on Ratchet. Don't fuck with me. Oh, sorry, I should have said don't with me, Huggy. Because the small team working on Miles DLC is Obsidian incapable of releasing multiple games with two major teams? I don't know. They released what? Pentiment. Shut your ass. What are you talking about? Asa, you don't like stealth games, but yet you routinely gave me shit for 2 years for not playing Spider-Man, the overrated freaking open world game with the shittest stealth sections in the history of life. And I want to know your excitement for this Spider-Man 2 ray tracing next gen only game. Go for it.
Hi, Gaz. Spider-Man was an incredible game. Insomniac have their weaknesses. They do. The stealth sections were terrible, and I hate stealth games. That's how good Spider-Man was. That I played all the way through it and enjoyed it the whole way, despite some of the worst stealth sections in gaming. Which is saying a lot. The thing that I really hope for the sequel, I'm fairly sure that when they initially announced it, within a few days of that first trailer, they were then saying that it was PlayStation 5 only. If they've said anything different over the recent bit of press releases, then...
because there was like this blog post from Herman Holtz like in the summer this year, where they had like talked about this entire cross-gen thing, and in that blog post, I remember, but if you, I'm not. I see a lot of people in the chat going crazy about this. But in that blog post, they made it sound like it's gonna be cross-gen. So if that's not the case, good on them, because it's time to move on.
Yeah, it's hoping. But so what I really want to see for it, the biggest weakness from the previous Spider-Man, and this applies to Sunset Overdrive as well, so I consider it an Insomniac weakness. Is that the side quests in the open world were properly shite. Yeah. 3-star challenges all over the map are properly shite. So keep what you do with the action, keep what you do with the campaign and the cinematic feel, keep the traversal. Don't give me these shitty challenges, like make the side content good. That's my hope for it.
Yeah. They were really bad. There was catch pigeons. What the flip thought was a good idea? Find his random bag of 100 bags that he randomly sprawled over the place. Oh, use the binoculars to perv on people for some random guy. It just, all of it was there. Oh, use these weird labs I've built all across the city that no one's noticed. That's futuristic tech for Osborn, so he can find a cure for COVID-25. It's just like, what is this? This is just derivative gameplay, and I'm so sick and tired of that kind of open world formula. Mr. Meeseeks, I see this Pentiment and Grounded reference in equivalence to Insomniac's Ratchet and Clank and Spider-Man. You don't want this smoke. Well, Asa, can just quickly on that though, am I remiss for saying that Sony, and I've said this before, but I want to get your take on it. They are recycling a lot of them. They've built these engines. The way they can churn these games around, even God of War Ragnarok, as great as it is literally started off as DLC, then it got scaled up. It is a PlayStation 4 game at its heart. Really, it is. And it works well on PS5. I'm not saying it's a bad game or anything. But here you've got God of War. Now you've got Spider-Man. That's coming out very quickly. They are really kind of squeezing out these engines, maybe it's smart play. I'm seeing Sony do this a lot and might see more of it. I mean, it makes sense, no? Spider-Man 2 is going to sell gangbusters anyway.
Yeah, don't underestimate what they will change in Spider-Man 2. But there is, like, if you're making games, it is a production pipeline. They are a publisher. They are putting money into it. So, of course, if there are efficiencies to be had, then they're going to take those efficiencies. If they can reuse things, and it makes sense to, if Kratos is going to get in the boat in the same way as he used to, like, you don't want to pay someone to spend a couple of weeks changing the animation for getting in a boat. That's just like dumb economics. So obviously we want to see them like push the boundaries and do things that have never been done before and create new IP and all the rest of it. But sometimes it makes sense to use work that's already good.
Yeah, no, I'm not hating on them. I'm just saying
makes sense. Actually, it just makes sense.
It does.
I mean, like even I even remember like there was this big after Xbox started buying studios left and right a couple of years ago, there was like this big press conference with some of these studio heads, and they were talking about, you know, how they feel about like being under Microsoft umbrella now and that kind of stuff. And also they spoke about technology sharing and that kind of stuff, right? So they actually did say that, like, you know, they are open to share some of their technologies, which, you know, which could be used in other games and that kind of stuff. So that's totally fine. So it makes no sense to reinvent the wheel if, you know, somebody has done it before. And to be honest with you, like, I did a little bit of a game developing myself, like 2 years ago, like was playing with, you know, Unreal and Unity and that kind of stuff. And you literally, if you really want it, you could actually make a game without making a single art
line of code,
anything. Anything. You can actually get everything from the game engine. You can buy stuff from like other artists and that kind of stuff. All you have to is just like put the pieces together. Obviously, I'm not saying that's easy, but if, for example, if you don't have any you know, art skills, like I don't, right? I was like making my own levels and stuff. Like I just got some art for free, basically from Unity store, right? You can do it. And obviously I'm talking about like some indie development. But basically like reusing assets in game development is nothing special. Like Ubisoft does it a lot as well, right? It's just, so I get it that, like, you know, it actually works for like console warriors and that kind of stuff, like comparing, this looks the same, but I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Why would you not? Yeah, no, I mean, look at God of War. God of War is a really conservative upgrade, but it's sitting at the same meta score, if you give a shit about Metacritic, as the other game, because look, it delivered a great story. And characters and voicing, all of that is not guaranteed. Spider-Man actually will be carried by its voice acting, motion capture, visuals. All of those will get an upgrade. And if it's PS5 only, that will be considerable as well, and with a lot of pressure for it to perform there, actually. So I'm not trying to deride it. I think it's a smart play that Sony have settled on established IPs that they can churn out faster with a template they have with their engines, whereas Microsoft may not be able to do that, other than Forza Horizon 5, which was that example, which was really great. Halo Infinite didn't, you know, they use this slip space engine, and look where that got them. And you've got now, but on the other end of that, you've got, and someone asked me in chat, what do you think is the next gen game? And look at Hellblade 2. That game visually looks incredible, but visual's only part of the puzzle. As a future of gaming video did, I want to see strides in AI. I also want to see strides in things like physics, which you're not seeing enough of, and use that CPU to good use. So there's a lot there. You
know what's going to be next gen only? Spider-Man 1 had the same bin bags all over the city. Really minor thing, right? But they said, we use this bin bag so often that we're going to keep it in memory for the entirety of the game. And they don't need to do that anymore. So I want to see massively different bin bags powered by AI all over the city. Next gen only. Bin bags.
Oh, yeah.
There is so much more these consoles can do. And it's hard to envisage because obviously the noticeable upgrades that hit you in the face, particularly in screenshots and videos, are going to be the way that something looks. But when you look at like the way that consoles and open worlds have developed over time, if you go all the way back to the 360 and Oblivion, there was like 3 different ground textures that covered the entire world because they had all these limitations to work around. You move up a gen, now you can get a bit of diversity, but only a certain number of things within one area, only one type of bin bag within the whole of Manhattan. And then you move on to this gen and you've got this space and you've got these SSDs, so you can now, you don't need to reserve space in memory for the assets that you're reusing all the time. Like, the whole point of these things is that you can just pull it all in and you can have massively more diverse environments. So if you're talking visually, that should make a difference. There's a subtle one that won't show up in a screenshot, but when you're exploring and things suddenly aren't all generic anymore, that subtle difference will be there. And when things start exploding and debris goes everywhere and it stays in the world because you no longer need to clear it off to save that little bit of space.
Yeah.
It's going to make a difference. And this is where next gen only, it's what we're all waiting for. So hopefully we see it soon, right?
I mean, bin bags is a small example. What about NPC variety in faces? You've got randomly generated NPCs and stuff like that. That's a bigger one. And you can't really say that, like, okay, that's a visual, but it is a visual thing. You can take a screenshot of that. There's a multitude of people, loads of physics, clothes, and, you know, all the particle physics. There's so much there.
This is completely like stupid thinking. Like, I like to get carried away with things that are exciting, though. And there's lots of conversations now around AI art. Absolutely. Imagine when AI is more involved in enemy design and things like that, and suddenly all those little lizards, they're all unique now because every single one has been generated on the fly with its little differences. Suddenly games are on another level. So there's things to look forward to.
Absolutely. And watch this space with AI. I did the Future of Gaming video that no one watched, that I spent so much time on. But watch that if you want to. But AI has been very controversial, especially in this next game that we're talking about, because this next game used AI, specifically an incredibly powerful tool in the hands of everyone that I've subscribed to and Cole Eastwood has subscribed to. It's called Midjourney, which is generating art. It is mind-blowing. If I could show you the stuff that I've created art, well, the AI has, based on a few command prompts, you will be mind-blown. But this next game did do that, albeit to a smaller degree, for its posters, and that is High on Life. High on Life has been trending on Twitter as well. It's been quite a divisive game. People expected it, said it's going to be mid. We had BG and Oh No, It's Alex. It said shit humor, blah, blah, blah. Very divisive. And for that very reason, a lot of reviewers have reviewed it poorly. Yet, for some reason, hardly anyone's reviewed it. It's sitting on 67 on Metacritic on PC and 61 on Series X, both with 17 reviews. 17 is not that much in the grand scheme of things, but there seems to be, from my observation, a market divide between what reviewers are saying this game is and what the game actually is. Now, I'm not the one to always bemoan reviewers' opinions. I think gamers are like, this review is shit, too much war, IGN suck. But I have played High on Life. I'm playing it to this day, and I can't wait to complete it. It's actually, God, it's pulled me away from bloody Callisto Protocol, which I was enjoying. It is such a fun game. I enjoy the shit out of it. Boxenberg, I didn't... Maybe it was my expectations, because I've played Squanch Games stuff. I love Trover Saves the Universe. I love Rick and Morty. And very few games nowadays will make me actually laugh. And I'm party chat with Colt, and he's laughing, and I'm laughing at random shit we're playing. And then Colt doesn't shut the because I'm trying to listen to the game, so don't play in party chat. Play it alone. But the game's mechanics may not be incredible. They're very basic. But they're still good enough for me to explore this beautifully hilarious, often crude Rick and Morty universe. So if you're there sitting on the fences looking at reviews, I think you may be surprised, especially if you're a Rick and Morty fan. I think you will love this game. But reviews
even if you're not, I've never seen Rick and Morty. It's like non-existing over here in Germany. I have no idea what Rick and Morty was before that game was made. I actually Googled because everyone was talking like, oh, if you like Rick and Morty, I had to Google what it is.
What?
Yeah, facts. doesn't matter. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. I didn't go in with expectations. It looked weird. The trailers were okay. It didn't do much for me, honestly. I didn't expect much, but I started it. And like you said, there are rarely games where I have to really laugh out loud and like literally pause because I'm just laughing. And it's such a fun game. And actually, the core mechanics are good as well. Like the shooting is good, the traversal with the knife whip and everything. It feels good. So they got the core gameplay mechanics down, and the humor. Yeah, I love it. I'm
very interesting that you've never watched Rick and Morty and you found this hilarious, which means to me you will cry real tears when you watch Rick and Morty, because there's some episodes that are hilarious. So that's very interesting, Boxenberger. You saw the initial trailers. We were hyped because we liked Rick and Morty. We saw that we clocked the humor. You didn't even watch Rick and Morty. You think the gameplay is good, is decent, serviceable. I think so too. I'm like, if the gameplay was utterly wank, I wouldn't play the game. But it's
solid. The gameplay itself is very solid, and the story is fun. So besides the actual humor, so what you actually do in the game, it's good, man. I say this is my biggest surprise this year, because I didn't have any expectations going into this. I just beat the third boss now, and I'm having a blast.
Fair enough. I mean, I know Colt's having a blast. Everyone is. I know anyone who's played it. I even had some Sony fanboys, like really hardcore ones, say it's a great game. Like, it's really fun because they love Rick and Morty. Mads, you don't look like anything. I don't know what you just look like. You have no feelings at all. You look like Asa right now. What's your take? I can't read on you. He's excited. Did he play the game? Have you played High on Life?
That's my poker face.
It's better than Asa.
Well, I don't like poker, but anyway. I did play, and it's actually funny because like when I first played it, like, and again, I don't know, it must be my curse or something, right? When I first played it, like literally installed it like maybe an hour when it became available, and frame rate issues, stuttering. I was like, what the fuck? I'm not playing this shit of a game, right? But literally hours after they released the game, they released a patch which actually fixed all these issues apparently, right? So I played later, and it actually works very well now. I actually enjoy it. Like, I wouldn't really say that it's actually one of the best games, whatever, right? But it's actually pretty fun. I actually dig the humor and that kind of stuff. Like when I shot some kid and then I met his mother and I was like, oh fuck, I'm screwed, right? And she's like, oh, don't worry, he was asking for it, like, like, okay, well, that's fine. So I actually, the thing is, like, this game just works, right? It's just like, it's actually quite fun to play. So it's one of those like little kind of games. And I actually agree with Boxenberger about like the I guess the trailers and that kind of stuff didn't really I actually find that quite a lot with games these days. Like, a lot of times, like the trailers doesn't really tell you much about the game, and sometimes I watch the trailer and it's like, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to be playing this. Like, I had the same with High on Life, right? I was like, this game is not for me. But actually, I tried it and it's actually pretty fun. So yeah, I'll probably beat that game. Like, that's at some point. Like, played it for maybe 2 hours or so. So it's actually pretty good. I like it. So I get it. Some people may not necessarily be in that kind of games, but so I understand that some people may give it like 7, 6, whatever. Like, but give it a 3 only because
Eurogamer,
because
they don't have a scale, but the guy, and if you read the review, most of it, his contention with the game was with the humor in the game. He found it horrible.
And that's what I don't get, because like, I get it. This part of the game, this one particular, that part of the game may not be for you, right? And I get it. But that doesn't make the whole game shit only because you don't like humor. Like, I mean, like,
he doesn't like humor. You don't like to laugh, Eurogamer. Get a better sense of humor. Yeah, you fucking. Yeah, sorry. I was doing my Knifey impression there. Knifey is a brilliant idea. No, it's true, though. It's like humor is subjective. And Asa, you don't have any sense of humor, right?
That's true. I don't have one at all. Yeah, not a single joke. I've played that. It's an interesting question on the review, though, because Eurogamer not having a score is kind of fair enough. Like, Mads, you're absolutely right. If you're trying to review this game objectively, yeah, sense of humor is just one part of the package, and someone reviewing it should be able to pick it apart and tell you things. But at the same time, it is such a core part of the experience that if you do not enjoy the sense of humor in that game, it's probably going to be a terrible time for you. You can turn down the voice lines a little bit, make them a little bit less common. But there's some value in being told, like, if you don't like Rick and Morty, you're going to hate this, even if the other stuff is objectively quite good. So reviews are weird, and the game is doing really well in terms of fan feedback. If you look at the Steam reviews, it's like 89% positive, despite some significant launch issues. And for me, that always means more than journalist reviews anyway. Reviews from anyone that gets things for free, like, sorry, but I think the real reviews mean a lot more to me. So that is what it is. For me, I played the game for... Yeah, real reviews are from people that bought the game and went and played it, to me. And I'm sure that's upsetting for some people. And it's quite a controversial statement in a sense, but it's why I don't ask for free shit. Makes my opinion completely irrelevant to me, let alone to everyone else. Someone's just dropped us. So, Gaz, you do some talking for a minute, and I'll pick up this line of thought in a minute.
I'll hold you up. I'm sorry. Let me read some super chats. Danny Passion Official, thank you for the $5 super chat, guys. One thing I like about this show is the focus of talking about actual games and not only PR drama. Please keep that essence. Thank you, Danny Passion Official. We actually talk about PR dramas as well, but we talk about games because when Xbox has no games.
You have to remember at the moment when so many people are like angry at Xbox for not showing up at the Game Awards, there is a separation to be made between the marketing cycle and actually releasing games. You can be mad at Xbox either way, to be fair. What I really want is the games, sod the marketing.
Absolutely. Once we have the games and we're excitedly talking about it, then it'll always be like that, Danny. But it's a balance. A lot of people do like the controversy. Controversy sells. Look, controversy for me, just in the topics alone, is exciting. I like the politics behind the industry, but I do want to talk more about the games. And as High on Life is a great example of that. Some game you can just talk about and laugh about, not massive spoilers. The game's humor is so, for me and Mads and Asa even, it's just, it's fun to discuss. Like Elden Ring, we could talk about, we met that boss. So yeah, it just swings and roundabouts. Face 23, Brooklyn, New York. My cable dropped. Yes, my headset is running out of battery. This stupid SteelSeries thing just beeps at you every 3 seconds if you haven't recharged it. And now I think this headset's going out, going by the wayside. Face, thank you again for the $20 super chat. To whichever Xbox fan that was saying E3 is bigger than the Game Awards, Game Awards had 103 million views this year. So if Xbox was going to show anything, they should have shown it there. Agreed with you. 100% agreed with you. I saw after the Game Awards, cable, I saw with the Game Awards so much damage controlling. Oh, it's only the Game Awards. Why does everyone care about the Game Awards? Oh, I don't know. It's that bloody show where they revealed the Xbox console. Yeah. What the hell are you talking about? And now 103 million. Who was saying that? Who was saying? I didn't say it's inconsequential. Or in fact, we had a whole argument about the value of the Game Awards and the responsibility. Always risk it for the biscuit, Mr. Lanus. Of course he was downplaying it. I'll risk it. Why do you do this to yourself? You make it so easy for me to absolutely shit on you, which I don't always want to do. He's a nice guy. But yeah, risk it. You've got a lot of L's taken on this one. But yeah, well, Risky, at least I'm sure now you acknowledge we all make mistakes. But the Game Awards is big. It is important. So the numbers don't lie. They are. I think,
isn't it even bigger than? Isn't it even bigger than the Oscars and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, gaming has dwarfed that, but against the Oscars, that says a lot because Oscars is huge. So
it does, but the Oscars is like an awards show. If the Game Awards was an awards show, it would not have the audience that it has.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. It is really all about
then again, that's even more. That should be even more incentive for these companies to put their game trailers there, because like everyone is there for that particular reason, right? So
100%. And did you see how good the show was this year? Next year, you're going to see a lot more companies, including Microsoft, actually show things off. Because if you're downplaying it, why the hell is the head of Xbox sitting front row on that show? Don't play it.
He was not happy.
I've never seen him so annoyed in my life. Not that I've seen him a lot, but he looked pissed because he knew. It's like he was getting on a roller coaster ride. He just like bit his teeth down like this. Don't even introduce me. Don't even introduce me to the show. Just want to sink here and just cry. And that was the same day the ABK deal. Okay, Phil, we love you, man. Honestly, and it's not nice to see you that upset, but bring the games, man. Danny Passion Official, thank you for the $2 super chat. Says, I'm okay with the drama, but the balance is great. Well, thank you, Danny, for your vote of confidence. We will try and strive to maintain that balance. It's not always easy, but I appreciate it. Before we go off the High on Life, well, actually, we've gone up past the High on Life. Apparently, Tomb Raider is now published by Amazon. What? I thought, can someone explain this? We were talking about this in the green room and I didn't understand it. Boxer Burger's back. Welcome back, baby.
Sorry, the internet was gone.
No, it's all good, man. It happens. We talked about, whilst you're here, put you in the hot seat. Tomb Raider is published by Amazon, of all places.
Yeah.
What's going on there? Because CD Crystal Dynamics got purchased by Embracer, but
yes,
the
exactly.
Amazon. Can someone explain to me? I actually don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, so this week, Amazon and Embracer announced that they will publish now the new Tomb Raider game. Yeah, they also announced a few little infos on the game. It will be single player. It will be a sequel to the trilogy. Unreal 5, we already knew that. Couple of things like that, but it's going to be published by Amazon. And I think that's really weird because Embracer itself has a big publishing arm. So why are they not publishing their game? One of the biggest games they've ever released, honestly, themselves. They just bought the studio. It's a flagship title. Why not publish it themselves? And I do have a theory. Actually, I have two theories.
Go for it.
The first was maybe there's something like a series or movie related attached to this that we just have not heard yet. So
that's a good theory.
That's one thing, and the other thing is, of course, Embracer buys a lot of studios, but never in this size. Crystal and Eidos Montreal and everything was like simply big studios for them, and maybe they just realized, hey, developing a AAA Tomb Raider blockbuster where you have to hundreds of millions of development budget, it's just too big for them. So
maybe it's a combination of two, but I think your second one, it has to be the second one, because let's think about it. What does Embracer have at the scale of Tomb Raider? That is previously released. I can't think of anything.
No, nothing.
Max, do you think Boxer Burger's right? There's either a series or a movie in the works, which would make sense as well with Amazon Prime, or the second one, which is basically they're a bit nervous. They're out of their depth, and they need a larger publishing outfit, or to carry this.
I mean, if anything, it's probably the second one. I mean, I haven't really heard anything about Tomb Raider movie and stuff. I mean, new Tomb Raider movie, but the second option actually makes sense, because if you look even at Crystal Dynamics, they are working with Microsoft on Perfect Dark, but apparently I'm not sure. When last time, aren't they helping with Fable as well?
Because it hasn't been confirmed officially, but that's the rumor that I think it was Eidos. One of the Square Enix studios is helping apparently.
Because that's one thing, but there was also, I can't remember when exactly, but there was also like official statement somewhere like a couple of weeks or months ago, where there, or maybe that was an article on Verge or something, I don't know. Either way, it was said that there is like a bigger collaboration between Microsoft Studios and Crystal Dynamics or some other studios from Embracer as well. So the basically what they were saying is that it's not only about this particular one game, as in Perfect Dark, but also it looks like they are collaborating on other games as well.
More strategic partnership, I remember.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was, and that was official. So I think what's like Boxenberger is actually probably right with the second one, basically saying that looks like they are really tight on money, or they don't want to invest too much into that kind of stuff, and that's why they are even like renting these people, left and right, just to get some money in for other projects, right? Yeah,
absolutely. I'm sure there's credence there. The second one, definitely. The first one isn't out of the realm of possibility. It's a good speculation there, because the partnership, or it could lead to number one. That successful publishing of this game could lead to that, and why would you not then naturally have a conversation with Amazon about that? Asa, what's your take on this? It's a bit unusual, no?
I quite like that theory, because so Embracer obviously have their own publishers. They've got THQ Nordic and they've got Deep Silver at the very least, who have the capability to publish games across various platforms. They've gone with Amazon, and for me, even if you're looking for a big third-party publisher, Amazon have no track record of any success in that kind of arena. They've done a few PC games that haven't set the world on fire. They've had a few disasters that they've pulled off the market. They've spent a long time trying to break into gaming. They bought a branch of Crytek's engine like years and years ago to do their own projects. They put a lot of money into New World. They published Lost Ark. They've done bits and pieces. They had I think it was the Crucible was their game that they launched into a beta and then said, oh, this is shit, and cancelled it completely. So if you're Crystal Dynamics and you've got this prestige and reputation, and you've got an IP like Tomb Raider, which is one of the big ones in the gaming space, you can probably work with pretty much any publisher that you want to. And they've gone with Amazon. So Boxenberger's theory is a good one. It could be that we're getting an Amazon Prime Lara Croft series alongside it. But who knows? I don't know. Don't know any more than that. I don't know that.
Yeah. It's an interesting one. I just know. I mean, it's good take on that. I didn't actually genuinely understand, unless I was missing something. Shout out to BG with a $5 super check. Goes, hope Gaz isn't downloading anything in the background this week. Keep him in check, Asa. He has been keeping him in check. I've been keeping an eye on the stream. It's not pixelated, so that's good. But shout out to you. I've turned my Xbox off, Ace out. So today, what's it called? Jess Gordon, actually, from Windows Central, actually enthused or speculated about apparently Microsoft might be exploring an ad-supported Xbox Game Pass Lite. How would you like that? Ad-supported Xbox Game Pass. Boxenberger, you pulled a face there.
Yeah, I keep the ads out of my beloved hobby. I don't want that in there. It starts with the Lite version, and if it's successful, you know how this will go. This will trickle over to everything else. I want to keep my gaming space ad free. However, I do understand why they are looking into that. Obviously, you want to make the entrance barrier as slow as possible. Especially with xCloud now, you have to have like the ultimate tier, which is 15 euros. I don't know how many pounds, 12 or something. Yeah,
I think so. 12.
So of course, you want to try to reduce that barrier. I'm not sure if an ad-based thing is the way to go, or if you should just get like Xbox xCloud as the lowest tier, so that when you have that Samsung TV, that's where the angle is coming from. If you're in front of your Samsung TV, you have the xCloud app on there. You want people to not subscribe to a €15 monthly subscription service, but to a €3 to €5 subscription service, because that's when people are getting hooked. So yeah, I'm not sure if it's a good idea, but I get why they do it.
Could be a way to finesse the inevitable price hike that is coming in January. You heard it here. I'm guessing January or February. It's coming. It's got to be coming.
24. You think they increase the price of Game Pass before they release actual games?
No, that would make no sense.
That's a good point, actually. That's a good question.
I don't think so.
It would be stupid.
If anything, they will wait. They will wait for Starfield and all these games and to grab more people in. Yeah.
I said that on our show as well.
Releasing any actual games.
Yeah. I think they will keep the Game Pass price stable through 23 to actually bring out some games, and then we will see in 24 the price hike.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. I think I would hate an ad support. Not that it would affect me because I'm going to pay for it because I hate ads. I paid for YouTube Premium today. I feel disgusting for paying that, but I just don't want to see ads anymore. But yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. That could hopefully be anything to add to that, Asa. Would you think that's okay? Microsoft desperate for some, because the great point that Boxenberger made was lowering the barrier, and xCloud is seen as taking it to the masses, yet that's locked off by the most expensive subscription Ultimate model.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth pointing out at the moment, this is just a survey, just a thing that they're probably exploring. And if you look over the fence at the TV streaming industry, Disney and Netflix and Hulu and all of those, they're all exploring ad-supported options as well. Publishers are greedy, and if they can get more money in any avenue they can, they're going to explore it. The rumors that were reported, you really have to take them with a huge grain of salt, because it is literally just reading into a survey and trying to infer things. One of those is that the speculated price of like $3 a month or something for the ad-supported tier, that's not a thing that exists. May well never happen, probably will never happen. The other one is that it includes Xbox Live Gold, like you can play online multiplayer with it. Again, not a thing, but that's obviously not going to work if Xbox Live Gold still exists at whatever price it is. So there's a lot there. I'm very much with Boxenberger, with Mads. Adverts are something that hopefully we as a massive gaming community will remain very resistant to. And it's amazed me for the last like 20, 30 years that we've pretty much done all right. We haven't got commercial breaks in our adverts yet. And
that's true.
I've been expecting that for the longest time. So hopefully we can stay stubborn and keep our gaming nice and clean and wholesome.
Even you bring up a lot of great points there. Even like product placement and such things are relatively rare. Yeah.
Not so bad. It's that product. Like I said at the start of the show, I'd rather see a real McDonald's than Burger Munch or Chunky Punk or whatever names they come up with. Random
Little
shit.
Shittily, as they've got in High on Life.
Little Shittily.
I mean, generally
some
speaking,
games can take good license with that.
I think most people will be okay with these ads as long as they're not very,
invasive.
If they will put some ads here and there during loading times and stuff. Although loading times are actually quite short now, so I don't know how they would do it, but like,
put it there. Done.
Exactly. So maybe they will try to do more product placement or something like that. Maybe that, but
that's what they've been doing. So you've got Monster energy drinks, you've had Energizer bunnies, you've seen that. It does still feel really icky, I'm not gonna lie. Depends on the game. If it's like a GTA 5, I don't mind. If it's like something like Death Stranding where there's hardly anything anyway and you're throwing bloody monster cans at a dystopian world at me, I'm like, what? So yeah, it does depend. But let's see. The final one is another rumor, but it comes from Jess Gordon, who, believe you me, does actually know quite a few things. And he says the new Xbox event that's rumored is starting to, well, he's basically, whilst he's being very careful and saying, well, I still think it's a rumor, it seems to have a little bit more weight. To be honest, Aaron Greenberg actually confirmed that they will have an event. They kept it coy, obviously, with the details. I'm sorry, I'm holding on to
Well, he didn't say event, but yeah.
Yeah, so something will come up. XCOM. If he does that emoji, Aaron Greenberg, I want to okay, anyway. So there's an event apparently coming in Jan. I want to know. I think it's inevitable. There is going to be an event. There's the outcry from Xbox fans, real Xbox fans. Yeah, I'm not the arbiter in deciding who's a real Xbox fan, but the outcry after the Game Awards was considerable. Charlie also said, Gaz trying not to gallop. I'm not a pony. But look, the outcry is substantial. Xbox will have pressure to reveal and have a good show, because particularly when they had a terrible summer E3 showcase, whatever it's called. So now they're going to have it. This coming. It's definitely going to happen. They're going to have a busy year on paper in 2023. I just want to know, what should they show, or what could they show? It's speculation time. I also want chat to know, what should they show, to what comprises a successful show, because I do this every year, and everyone damage controls after the fact. You have all this fantastical list of games, like, oh yeah, Perfect Dark 75 and all of this shit, and then there's Banjo-Kazooie and blah, and nothing happens. They're like, oh no, it's a good show. They just showed us everything they showed last year. Yeah, wait for next year. So I want to get an idea, an established consensus as possible in this weird format. What can they show? What should they show? Boxerburger, go for it. What do you think they should show, first of all?
Okay. I mean, it really depends on what kind of format they choose. We've been asking for like a Xbox Direct kind of format for years now. Yeah. Yes. So if it's like only like a 20-30 minute thing that they have, it probably would make sense to simply show a little bit of gameplay for the games apparently coming in the first half of the year. Yeah. Yes. And of course, give the release dates. We still don't know when Redfall is coming, Forza is coming, when we will play Starfield. Yeah. Stalker 2 and so on. Last Case of Benedict Fox and so on. All these games don't have a release date yet. So it would make sense to use the showcase for that. I still think it's
a great point, Boxerburger. Didn't they say these games are coming in the next 12 months?
Yes, exactly.
That was in June. So you have games coming out, Redfall, Starfield, and all of these in the June, and we have no release dates.
Yes, exactly. They are supposed to come out before the next E3, basically.
Yeah.
So that's when we expect these games to come out. Of course, there will be, no doubt, one or two games that will get a delay. I have no doubt. But the vast majority should hopefully hit that window, and we have no idea when they come out. We don't know nothing about Hollow Knight 2 and Silksong and so on, and all these games. So yeah, that would make the most sense to use the showcase for that. I still think it's a missed opportunity with the Game Awards. Someone also posted it in chat earlier. Earlier today, Jeff Keighley revealed that 103 million viewers watched the Game Awards.
Yeah, I think you cut out when we were talking about this, but yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, so no Xbox showcase, maybe E3 or the one in January will hit those numbers. So
thank you.
Yeah.
So that's a massive missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Opportunity. Horrendous. You're right. Nothing. Ooh, well, apparently Riskier still thinks that E3 will hit those numbers. Maybe it might, but
I don't think so. But the thing is, so what should they have done at the Game Awards? They should have shown, like they did in the last years, one of those big, shiny, mega blockbusters. Yeah, they have shown Hellblade. They have shown Perfect Dark at the Game Awards, stuff like that. So what should they have done? They should have shown like the next Fable, a glimpse of the next Fable, or a Vow, or something, where you know as a non-Xbox customer, okay, That's why I'm getting an Xbox for. So if it were up to me, what I would do is I would go out in January with a smaller showcase, just lay out the roadmap of the next 6 months, but then have another Xbox Direct format in April or something. Yeah.
Isn't that a bit close to E3 though?
Yeah, but that's the thing. And you need to get the people on a consistent basis hyped for Game Pass, basically, or the Xbox ecosystem.
I fully agree with you. It's just that they've shot themselves in the foot by not doing the Game Award. Now, if they're going to do 2 events, it's going to eat away at the meat that they have available to them. I fully agree with you, and I know exactly where you're coming from. But the what I'm leading to that is, and you've summed it up there really well, which I'm going to lead on to Mads on. Mads, Box and Burgers, I agree with his idea that the next show should be at least, at the very least, what's coming in the next 6 months, because they promised those games are coming in the next 6 months. Do you think that's enough for the early non-E3 showcase where they show Starfield, Redfall gameplay in depth, and Forza along with some
Stalker
of the other
2.
ones? Stalker 2. Stalker 2 I can be a bit mindful because they're in crazy situation with the war. But yeah, Stalker 2 would be great. But do you think that'd be okay? Chat, would you think that's okay if they just showed that and then hold off on the big new reveals? Or do they have to do the extra?
Me personally, I would be totally fine with it. And to be honest with you, like even with that video games awards, right? I mean, the games awards. I wasn't actually expecting any new announcements, if you know what I mean, any new games. I was actually expecting Redfall, Starfield, Forza, release dates, new trailers, and that kind of stuff, right? Because I know that they are very, pro E3, and they still want to keep that particular event for their, big announcements. So I don't think they will do anything big, especially that. I mean, what's the point of hyping people up about some future projects when you're going to have quite big 3 games coming to Game Pass, like an Xbox, like Starfield, Forza, Redfall, all 3 big games. On top of that, they're going to have quite a lot of Game Pass games. Like they've got this Wulong game, Lies of P, Atomic Hearts. All these games are coming to Game Pass, right? So what they really need to do, they need to actually start talking and advertising these games. Hey, it's on Game Pass, it's on the Xbox, here's the release date, here's the new trailer, and that kind of stuff, right? So I think that's what they will actually focus on. And when it comes to like big announcements, any Fable news and that kind of stuff, if anything, we will get something during E3, not now. And actually, I think Boxenberg actually mentioned that they will probably have they should have more like of events like during throughout the year, and I think they should. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm not really saying that they should have that. What was the name of that show that nobody really liked?
The Xbox
that indie Twitch showcase thing or what?
Oh, no. The thing with
PTSD with that. Just got over that.
The thing with Ricari and that kind of stuff. Like a couple of years ago, they had these inside Xbox Inside shows. Anyway, I actually do agree that they should have like maybe direct like kind of shows like every 2 months, basically showing what's coming, and maybe not necessarily that direct like because it's more about like showing new games. Yeah, but like they should have like these shows basically hyping up stuff that is coming in next 2-3 months and stuff, right? Like just
I fully agree with you. Because everyone is saying marketing is shit at Microsoft. High on Life, it's not a big game, but it's so easily marketable on TV ads and YouTube. You didn't see anything about it. So you're actually quite right there.
They only managed to get Rick and Morty to advertise God of War Ragnarok, and Microsoft didn't manage to advertise High on Life.
That was cool. That was cool.
Think about it. God of War and Rick and Morty are so worlds apart, yet they managed that. Sony did. Yeah. High on Life, nothing. It's a great point. What? What the hell's going on?
I reckon showcase-wise,
yeah.
Microsoft, they should get on stage. Phil Spencer and Satya Nadella should step on stage and they should say, this is what we've got on Xbox for the next 12 months. Cue trailer, and it comes up, Sea of Thieves Season 8. And then at the end, it says, PlayStation 5 and Switch. And then they should get on their knees, give it the big puppy eyes, and go, please let us have Activision Blizzard. End show.
It's being very, very messy.
You know what? I'm so tired of this whole Activision Blizzard thing. It's just like ridiculous. You know what?
You notice I didn't bring it up today for a reason.
Yeah, you know what? I would actually even want this deal to go. I mean, not necessarily like being blocked, but like to finish straight, like right now, one way or the other. Just make a decision and
so sick of it. But what, man? What is Destin Legary going to do? Have you seen his YouTube channel? Every single video is on the FTC. He should change his name. What's going to happen when the deal goes through? He's going to be like, I have no content, but I'm not coming at Dustin. But yeah, like really, it's sick and tired of it. But we won't talk about it. We won't talk about it because it's boring and sucks. So yeah, but Asa, the showcase event, whether or not it happens, I guess Boxenberg actually kind of you've laid it out there quite well. It made me reconsider my stance. At one point, I was thinking, if you just show Starfield, Redfall, and Forza, that's not enough because we want to see the new reveals. And like they had Dead Stranding 2 on stage, but the 6 months deadline is impending. So now there's pressure. You can show us that. And maybe a little bit of Avowed or whatever, and then has reserved the big ones for E3. Well, what's your take on it? What
tease that for E3? More of Hellblade at E3 or something like that. That's enough for. Yeah.
Someone in chat asked, "What's happening with?" It was him, Ranting Greek Gamer. Shout out to you. He goes, "What's happening with Hellblade? I'm a bit concerned." I'm also a bit like, what's happening with that? But Asa, sorry, go ahead. What's your expectation and what should Microsoft do?
See, I still think, and I'm against most people on this, I think, but when they came out last year and did this is our next 12-month show, and they had that awkward moment where that kind of cut the marketing cycles down and left them in a slightly weird position for that one show. I really think they should stick with that format and get things down to 12 months because they should have a content pipeline that allows them to fill up showcases and talk about things that are coming. Like Boxenberger said, like Matt said, these games that they've claimed are coming within what is now 6 months. It's a very safe bet to say that Microsoft have some kind of showcase because they can't release Redfall without telling us about it. So they have to, whatever the format is, they have to be doing something. And
yeah,
this is the weight on their shoulders to provide games. Like we're trying to buy whoever we're trying to buy is not an excuse for the way that they're not showing anything. They know now that it's not fooling any of the regulators. So get on and show us what you got coming. Excite your fans, sell your consoles, push on.
We are absolutely, and Reverse World actually I think he's echoing your sentiments there. He says, well, he says, can't they do a January show that shows all of 2023 and then E3 does the next 12 months, which would take us into June 2024? Would you be okay with that, Asa? Like,
I didn't think you would talk to me again, so I stopped listening.
You piece of shit. Well, Reverse World is suggesting that we can do a January show all of this year, or next year, 2023, and then do another 12 months, because that's what you're suggesting. It's good to get a 12-month pipeline of what Xbox is intending to release, if they stick to it, which I have questions about. But yeah.
Yeah, and they're always going to have that difficulty where, and this is a challenge that faces the whole industry, where we as an audience, some of us may want to know things that are 6 years out and some of us really don't. But as an industry making games, they haven't got a lot of choice. So in one way or another, they kind of have to come out and say, these are what we're working on, because if they don't, it's going to leak through job listings and back channels and all the rest of it. So I do understand. I never get excited for a CGI trailer for a game that's years away. Like Wolverine's come in and you've got CGI in a bar. It tells me nothing. I don't care. Take that away. Don't want to know. But
yeah, but it gives the masses.
Yeah. Wolverine's a weird example. It's a big IP and people can get excited. But like Perfect Dark, whatever.
I got excited.
Well, I think it is important to lay out your roadmap to a certain degree. You can't reveal everything. You need to, at certain points, surprises. But you have, especially at the beginning of a generation, you have to give people a reason.
Yes.
Okay, if I'm gonna invest now in an Xbox, I will be owning for the next 6, 7, 8 years, however long the generation will be an Xbox, and I'm getting these games. I'm getting a new Fable. I'm getting a new Perfect Dark and Avowed and all these things. So a roadmap, even for games years ahead, I think it is important.
I do agree with you there.
General consumers.
But they kind of did that already. I mean, they showed
they
us.
did.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, like, I don't think they can show us everything. And on top of that, like, you know, like, me personally, I don't like being shown the same thing over and over again, right? So
same.
I'm fine with, like, okay, they show that Fable trailer or State of Decay 3 trailer. I mean, CGI, so obviously that's not really the game, and I don't want to see anything else until they've got like a proper gameplay from the game, and that's probably and that's probably going to be coming like 6 to 12 months before the game is going to release, right? So I mean, that's why I think it's quite important to actually, that's fine, you show some stuff that is coming in the future, like, you know, Fable's probably 2026 game, but like they will be probably focusing more on like next 6 to 12 months, and that's fine, because, like, to be honest with you, like I get it, like exclusives, right, and that kind of stuff, but like there's so many great games coming in next 6 months, right? Like just Game Pass alone, and not to mention things like Jedi Survivor, right, or Dead Space remake, and Resident Evil 4 and blah blah blah, right? Like, but even Game Pass, just like, you know, Starfield, Forza, Redfall, Lies of P. Well, I'm not sure what's going on with Stalker 2. That's actually another good question, because like Stalker 2, they did put that game on that next 12 months kind of games, right? List.
Actually, the game director confirmed a few weeks ago there were like some trolls on social coming at them that it's been delayed indefinitely, and he was reassuring that the game is still slated for the first half of 23. So
there we go. Wow. So that's even more content to show, right? So like, to be honest with you, I don't even care what's beyond 2023, to be honest with you, at this point, because I know that there's so many games that is like just next 6 months is just going to be packed. Like,
it should be, unless they got delays.
Well, some games will probably get delayed.
Some will.
Diablo 4 is coming as well. I mean,
that's in June. Yeah. Shame that one missed the Xbox Game Pass window, but it is coming. I had to laugh. Alvin said Joanna Dark is far more interesting than Logan, to which Beta says, Alvin, you're smoking meth. That made me laugh. I don't know where I want to sit on that one, but I'll let you two fight it in chat. But yeah, there's a lot coming. I'm sure Microsoft's event, I do think, will happen in Jan-Feb time. I think there's pressure there. They have to. They've got Redfall, Starfield, and Forza coming in the next 6 months. They need to show it. And if they're going to delay those games, then for a fact they're going to have that event to maybe dangle another little game. And, oh, by the way, this got delayed. So, yeah. And if they do that, by the way, if Microsoft do that, if they delay their games, I will shit on them so ferociously with the velocity of a bullet, because the excuse people made last year was, well, it's the 12 months. And if that doesn't pan out, I'm sorry, I'm going to be insufferable. And on that doo-doo note, I want to thank everyone. Hit the like button. There's 430 people who still watching. Please, if you did enjoy the show, thank you. And please smash the like button. Before we do the outros, I just want to quickly give Asa a big congratulations for being a good friend of mine for 2 years. It's been 2 years. since we've been doing this. I don't know how long it's been. It's been December. Like I think we've started this like 2 years ago. I don't know what the number, the month is. Someone told me it's been 2 years. There might be wrong information, but shout out to Asa for doing those Spotify things and for being a great friend and being a piece of shit at the same time. Asa, before I do the outros to the gents, how do you feel now that I showered you with praise and shit?
Seething rage. I'm disgusted. No, that's nice. I didn't know it's been 2 years. We've not been very good at keeping track of like milestones and things like that. But obviously, it's not just me and you. It's like there's over 400 people here, which is fantastic for us. So thanks to everyone that's followed us on this little journey and everyone that's come and guested on the show or chatted with us and all the rest of it. Let's see what happens next year, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll still be best friends. Shout out to Isla and the mods in the chat as well for keeping it civil. Before we do go out, we have to give these gents a time to shine. You have been shining all day. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence, Mads. I finally see the beautiful smile. The Polish sensation is here. How are you? I hope you had a good time, man.
Great time. Obviously, thanks a lot for the invite again. A lot of fun as always, a lot of laugh with you, all you guys. So yeah, really appreciate it. And thanks for the invite again.
Thank you. Please check out their stuff. It's linked in the description below. And Isla, lovely as she is, has pasted it. Last but certainly not least, Boxer Burger. I hope you're feeling better, man. Here's some auto-tune for you. How was your debut? Oh, no.
It was awesome, man. I had a blast. Thanks so much for the invite. No, really, it's always a fun time to talk with you guys, and it's been an honor to be on the show. I had a blast.
Thank you so much. And honestly, your video content is great as well. Both gents have excellent content. Please check it out. And Boxer Burger is a lot more consistent than I am, and so is Mans. But on that point,
I've been lazy recently.
Listen, man, it's Christmas time. I didn't release a video this week. I was working on it, but I didn't. So I know it's hard. It takes hours. But speaking of which, we have loads of content. And I promise you, we have 3 videos in the works. One was supposed to come out yesterday. It's come out. It's Monday or Tuesday. It's Phil Spencer's quote where Sony is making us feel small. And I'm going to shit on our chosen one for that statement and Microsoft. But then there's also other stuff, good stuff like what's coming for Xbox if the deal falls through. And Asa has made a hilarious video on and he's an expert because he made a video shitting on the PlayStation format starring Isla. And I've already been working on it. Asa did all the editing. I'm just doing the little bits in between. You'll know which ones because it'll be obvious. But Asa did some mad editing on this one. Something I can't do. You can tell it's Asa level shit. So definitely. Can we get the Source Awards? Yes, CWU. We will next year. I was thinking of talking about that next year, but hopefully soon. Starring Isla Ghost Magonas. I saw you there as a little, what did you call yourself? That's such a weird, you small. That's it. You guys are weird. Asa, you're weird. If you want to see Asa's hilarious sense of humor, you'll find it very soon. Thank you, everyone. Please hit that like button. This is the longest outro ever. I feel like that God of War guy who was giving a speech for 10 minutes as Al Pacino died live on stage. But yeah, thank you. Please hit that like button, and we'll see you very soon. Peace.
I